Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
If you've been hurt in a road accident that wasn't your fault, you should really talk to G4 Claims first. Unlike road accident solicitors, we don't charge you for our services, which could see you better off. To keep 100% of your compensation, have a chat with Nicole and the team. You'll be glad you did. Search online for G4 Claims.
Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sellik the Thunder podcast. It's episode 117. We're one away for the big 118. And today we come live from the G4 studio as the international break comes to an end, as Celtic are back in action, which means we're back in action. Joining me today on this beautiful Thursday night, over on the right hand side, we have Kieran Auld. How are you doing?
I know, bad. It's good to be back on a Thursday, I feel. Usually, this season anyway, I've been a couple of Wednesdays. It's good to be back into my routine, you know.
You've got space on the couch as well. No Freys squashed up this week.
I know. Not getting McGinley sandwiched between us.
Once again gone. They'll be back.
He'll be back in at some point.
I will. But how's your international break been? Anything interesting?
Pretty fucking boring. Just been walking away and hoping that time would go quickly, so we're back here talking about Celtic and gone to the games.
Well, I've got a lot of Celtic related stuff to catch up on, so I hope you've been holding your opinions for us. Calum also joins us. Calum Craig on the other side of the couch. I asked the same question. How are you doing?
Okay, good. Just walking away, plodding along, as Kieran said, just try to get through to Celtic being back.
Nothing interesting for you in the international break?
No, again, just glad it's done. I fucking hate internationals.
They're terrible, aren't they? Did any of you even bother watching the Scotland games?
I watched the Portugal one.
I watched the goal against Portugal, but that.
I watched none. Absolutely zero. Had no interest, no intentions. I heard McTominay scoring around in the start to see the highlight, and I went and then went back upstairs.
See, I'm a glory hunter.
I like the tournaments.
I wouldn't claim to be anything else. I've not been to a Scotland game.
Nope, never. The only one I was meant to go to was actually two I was meant to go to. One I didn't go because I was hungover, and the other got called off because of COVID. So
was that the one? Who were they playing? I left your motor door open.
San Marino.
There was 6 tickets.
I think it was like 4 tickets my dad won for the San Marino game, and I was like maybe a couple of people going, and we were just all rough. Like, nah. It's just
that's when Scots are Ryan. Some poor bastards left 4 tickets to the Scotland game.
Unlucky. Aye, so it's safe to say I've still not been, and I don't intend on it. But back to Celtic, that's what matters most. We've got a couple of things I've got to get off housekeeping wise to do very, very quickly. Number one, Calum is injured.
That's as well as I'm not replacing Scott Bain in the Celtic team.
The first podcast injury of all time.
I've come in with a couple of dodgy feet in them, but I've powered through. No, it's just my elbow. I don't know what it is, just fat elbow.
Tennis elbow.
He's got a case of fat elbow.
Imagine the doctor was like, fat elbow. That's what it is. So, Calum, in being injured, is going to the out of hours this evening. Willie's plan is to go to the out of hours, which means the Thunder Club members, hello, we'll get to you in a minute. Tonight's exclusive podcast content will be the typical Q&A that we would do. So I apologise to normal viewers who watch every week. Your Q&A has been ripped away for you. One time only. If you really want to see it, then join the Thunder Club. Pay money. That's the second bit of housekeeping. Hello, welcome for the first ever time, members of the Thunder Club, who are now paying for the exclusive podcasts and part of our exclusive group. You two have obviously not had a chance to speak to them yet. You will get a chance to speak to them later. But welcome in, hello, and we can finally kick off the show. Anything you want to say before we do get started?
I'd like to thank my new employers, the Thunder Club.
The Thunder Club members are pivotal to the running of the show. The podcast will be giving away a free football shirt every single month to you guys. That'll come at the end of every month, so keep watching the exclusives and you'll know who's won and whatever. Celtic, we've got to talk about Celtic. We've got to get started with the podcast. it's been an incredibly busy 2 weeks, lads, since we last sat down and spoke. The Champions League group stage, sorry, not the group stage, the Champions League draw was done. Transfer deadline day took place, and Celtic pumped Rangers in yet another derby. Where do we even begin? I don't know. Let's quickly go over the derby, shall we? Because it's nice to air out our opinions. Kieran, on you go, son. Take it away.
I mean, it was pretty impeccable, wasn't it? I mean, you couldn't really fault it, apart for the fact they winning the first 10 minutes trophy. But like, at that point, you're thinking, oh, maybe it isn't going to be this sort of game. And then we scored that goal, it got chopped off. But after that moment, you knew the tide had turned, and it was a bit of an onslaught for there onwards. And I went into that game, I don't even know if I would say quietly confident. I'd say this might have been the most confident I've been going into one of the games in the past, as far as I can think, to be honest. So I was just buzzing with the way things unfurled, and just a great day all round.
Calum, I don't even think that Celtic were at their optimum ability against Rangers. I think that we've seen a Celtic that were maybe 50-60% of their best, and we still wiped the floor with Rangers. It's just what we've come to expect, but once again, we've talked about this already this season in the podcast, the difference between the start of last season under Brendan Rodgers and the start of this season. We are truly cooking with gas, and we've improved on the team. We're in a really good place, aren't we?
100%. I think it was just weird to see the game against Rangers that it was the opening 10 minutes that we kind of sat back, considering we had been in recent weeks where we just go out and try and blow a team away. But as Kieran touched on, as soon as you get that disallowed goal, the full game just get turned in its head massively. It's as if they were like, what do we do here? What do we do next? And then, as you said, end up just running away with it. I
mean, Philip Clement, he was, once again, hitting out with absurd comments. I can't wrap my head around him. I think that as long as... Listen, I hate making these kind of predictions. I don't want to be like the Ryan that was like, no, listen, hear me out. I know you're shaking your head. I'm not here to say that Celtic have won 10 in a row. But as long as Clement is in charge of Rangers, I think we're going to see a great deal of success against them, because it just seems like he's another one of these managers who really likes to play the mental game. He thinks he's winning the mental game, and then on the park, he's done nothing to back it up, Kieran. He's done nothing to back up these claims. He still insists that they were better than us at Celtic Park as well. I think that Brendan Rodgers is a man who loves this, quite frankly.
I mean, he's rubbing his hands at the thought of this continuing, Brendan Rodgers, because honestly, some of the comments that's been made, I feel like even Rangers fans have to be like, right, rein it in a wee bit. All this stuff, turn into a stats nerd.
What is it Mourinho once said? Those who analyse football with stats don't understand football at all.
But like, why is that your first protocol? I understand you need to defend your team and that to the press, but I sound like Neil Warnock there. I'm back you every week in fucking press.
No passion.
But no, it's pretty. I feel like we're in a good position in a way. Him in charge of them, and I feel the point I keep making to people that I work with that are Rangers fans is, why on earth did they give him that contract? Yeah. Because I feel like if they never gave him that contract, I feel like history might have been repeating itself for the third season on the bounce, where we've seen this exact same cycle, and it felt like if he never had that contract, I'd be confident he's a couple of results away from it. But I don't think they're in a position where they can afford to.
And that's not even being the green tinted spec Sellik that.
A genuine, I don't think they can afford to sack him. So I think it leaves us in a good position, but it's once again a point we need to just make sure we kick on. And we've been in these situations before where we've kept them at arm's length. We'll go into the transfer window and talk about how that went down, but I mean, I feel like we're in a pretty good position as of now.
Funnily enough that you mentioned about kicking on, because to finish off the point, I was going to come to you, Calum, and ask, now that we have defeated Rangers and that we've defeated them in such magnificent fashion again, it is now just getting the head down, getting on with it. Yeah, we can laugh at Rangers, we can laugh at Clement's comments, but that's now in the rear view mirror. We don't think about that until the next derby now. We have Champions League, we've got Hearts at the weekend. Celtic have a real chance to make a statement this season, but it's all about a game at a time.
100%. I think it's even, as we touched on, it was setting that marker down for the first derby of the season. We all said it on the last show, like prior to it. once you've got that win, as you said, it's nice, you've got it, you've got the first bragging rights, but now that's over and done with. That's just put behind you. As you go into the next game, it's Hearts. We just take every game one game at a time.
And hopefully we can sack Naismith while we're at it. So the derby was fun. It was great, and we won't spend too long on it because it's been a fucking fortnight now since the game nearly, so there's not really any point. But we do need to catch up on the transfer window. We do need to catch up on the Champions League draw as well, because this podcast, we spent weeks and weeks and weeks banging on about the window, what sort of window we'd be happy with ending on. So it's only natural and it's only right that we discuss whether or not we think we're prepared for the season ahead. So deadline day, Kieran presented a huge signing in Arnie Engels. He smashed the club record, £11 million. We also signed Austin Trusty from Sheffield United for around £6-7 million. And Luke McCowan ended up being the other midfield option. Now, we'll come on to McCowan in a minute because we obviously spoke about McCowan in the last podcast. But in general, what is your thoughts about the window now that it's done? Are you happy? And have Celtic done enough for you?
I mean, we sat here for weeks talking about how there was a need for business to get done, and I mean, we left it in typical Celtic fashion right until the final hour to get all the business wrapped up. But I reckon as a club you can maybe, I feel like it's a hard position to know because we can sit and say right now, I think that was a successful window. Time will tell, but as of right now, I'd say I'm pretty happy with it. Maybe in the weeks leading up to the end there, we were talking about maybe one more signing on top of the ones we already made, but I feel like most positions have been covered now. We spoke about left back. We've got Alex Bally for Barcelona. Centre half is covered as well. With Engels, that was a point where we thought maybe it wasn't going to happen, and then we managed to get it over the line. I feel like hopefully that set the precedent. We shouldn't be scared to spending money now. Like, have we finally moved on for the 6 million cap because we've signed Ida and him?
Yeah.
Hopefully that's a positive sign moving forward that we're not going to be stuck in the past anymore. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. And when it comes to Luke McCowan, I understand the position we were in. I'm happy for him because you see his interviews, he's buzzing to be here. I feel like on this podcast we said we wouldn't be angry if he signed, but we felt like it was going to be the cheap option. But he's here to, for his interviews, he sounds like he's game to kick on and try and compete for a starting spot. So
he's a lifelong Sellik fan. I mean, the reaction, I love the videos his family are reacting to him coming on against Rangers. It's phenomenal. So I guess Calum, at the end of the day, we wish him nothing but luck. We obviously want any player that signs for Celtic to succeed, and it was maybe a bit of a surprise that he actually did end up signing on deadline day, because by all accounts it was meant to be Mateus Bogus, didn't happen, and then apparently we're hearing it was going to be the lad Sanchez from Switzerland. But then it turned out to be McCowan. So are you happy with that compromise? I know that we said a couple of weeks ago that it could be looked at as a sort of downgrade, but he plays in the league, he knows the league, he's a lifelong Celtic fan, he understands the pressure of playing for the club. This is a transfer that ultimately still has a lot of upside. It might just not be a glamorous name, but it's still a good signing.
Oh no, 100%. I think, as you touched on there, because he does already know the league, because again you hear it from plenty of ex-professionals, that you don't realise how quick the game is actually up here. So he's played here a number of years, so he already knows, he's already adapted. As you said, it's lovely to see for him, first of all, being a Celtic fan, but his family and such. I think there's still, for the likes of Sanchez, I think we could still sort of continue monitoring that coming in towards January, potentially. But then again, if you were to add him, it's brilliant. If not, it's not so much a pain because you have already got enough player in it to replace it.
Yeah, I think if you look at the list at the start of the window, and from our first podcast, and even the last podcast we done last season, we all sort of were in agreement that we wanted maybe 2 goalkeepers, a left back, a centre back, and a Matt O'Reilly replacement. We wanted Ida, we wanted Bernardo. The only thing that we really sort of missed out on, a lot of people maybe wanted, was a winger. But we're in a position where Kuhn has started the season brilliantly, Maida started the season brilliantly, Forrest is still reliable, Palma, we'll wait and see. I guess that in general, if you were offered that on paper, Calum, if you were offered on May 26th, the day after the Scottish Cup final, this is how your window will end, I think a majority of fans would have said, you know what, yeah, I'll take that.
Oh, 100%. I think the only win that a lot of folk were saying for a winger is just because we weren't really convinced we could at that point. But again, he's come in since the start of the season, he's proved all of us wrong. He's shown us the player that we did see in those clips and such before signing, so I'm more than happy with it.
I guess there's two ways to look at it, Kieran, isn't there? You could look at it as that Celtic left everything too late, or you could also be the more glass half full kind of guy and say, well, they didn't rush into signing somebody pointlessly. They'll now give themselves time till January to assess the correct option. Because we weren't linked with a lot of wingers. The one we did end up getting linked with was the Lazio player who didn't want to leave. So do you think it's maybe smarter for Celtic to hang back and wait for maybe these more important positions where things can get pricey?
I know, I reckon that is the case, but if you look forward to January as well, if that's where you want to try and sign players, we've heard it before about how January is a very difficult month to sign players, so I hope you're ready for January to be fully what I've just said. We're going to be saying it.
Very difficult window, Kieran. I hope you understand.
Clubs don't want to sell. But I think it is good we've got time now, and we've got good wingers at the club, but I think obviously that if looking forward, that might be an area in which if we keep talking about levelling up the team, I think that's the natural progression. But I mean, overall pretty happy, but hopefully we're working away in the background and it's no a case of standing still now that we've got business done now. So.
The big question, I guess, and the ultimate question around the recruitment is, and I'll ask both of you this, I'll let you go first, Kieran. Do you believe that this is a squad capable of making a dent in Europe? Do you think Brendan Rodgers has been given sufficient quality to now make a mark?
The optimist that's grown with him.
We always have to start with that one.
I would like to think so. I've had my heart broken many times thinking this before, but I mean, it's rare that you sit here after a window and think, right, I think we've done pretty good there. Obviously, a lot of the players who signed were pinning a lot of hopes on them being, like we're talking about Engels, we've spent the money on him, we're hoping he can come in and provide what Matt O'Reilly done for us, maybe even take us to another level. So the Champions League, obviously it's a new format, but I don't think we'll go into talking about it, but I don't think we'll ever get a better opportunity, especially with the draw we've got, to try and make an impact. If we don't, then I'm sure we'll talk about that later.
Oh yes. Calum, what about you? Do you think that in all areas we're now equipped? Are you confident of what this squad can do?
I think more so also with like how favourable the draw has went for us as well. Has turned out quite well, but even with the team we've got, you would like to hope that we could then go in to do a bit of something in Europe.
Fucking better. I swear to God. We are going to come on to the draw in a minute. Generally, any last thought? Do you know what I hate? The fact that the fucking thing's out there, because I have no idea how long we've been talking. Doesn't it feel like too long?
Somebody in the comments said Kieran's quite good at guessing.
Go on, Kieran, go on.
18 minutes.
18 minutes? Oh, okay. So before we go into the Champions League draw, then usually we open the podcast with 25 minutes, half an hour. Any kind of last thoughts on the window in general?
I'm just sat here wondering where Fitzgarden is.
Did you? I genuinely thought you were going to hit it with it, and I'm just sitting there thinking, what a window. That's what I thought you were going to hit it with. Fitzgarden, where is he? Ryan, where is he? I was so funny. Right before I went to Berlin, somebody commented on one of my live streams like, I still think we'll get Fitzgarden on deadline day, and I was like, Ryan McGinley is that account. He is logging in and commenting that. In terms of final thoughts, I genuinely don't think we could have done much better. I really don't. And I know that maybe sounds like the stupid Celtic fans saying it now that it's done. I'm not licking up the board's arse or nothing, but I just struggle to see where we could have done better in each position. A lot of people going, the biggest criticism I seem to be seeing was around Bally and people saying, oh, he's a BT player for Barcelona and all the rest of it. But we weren't linked with many left backs in the window. I don't think finding a quality left back is necessarily easy. And I think he'll come good. I think he'll be fine. So I really don't think we could have done much better, to be honest.
I'm pretty happy with it, specifically that signing. I don't really see it from a negative point of view. I see it as we've signed a prospect for Barcelona on loan for a year. Obviously, there's no direct option to buy it. He's got the release clause and things like that. But I'm choosing to see it in a positive light, and hopefully he does get sufficient game time as well, because we've seen some of these loans for the bigger teams and it's just no work to it. But I've got a bit of hopefulness about this one.
Jeremy Tolyan.
Calum was on there. I genuinely, as soon as we signed him, I was ecstatic. He was a career mode hero.
He was like 95 potential in FIFA, man. He was like nuts, and then he was pish. I don't think he's actually done it in his career either, is he? Like,
he's one of the ones sometimes I'll just be pure bored and try to get to sleep. I wonder what Calum is on does.
I guess to finish up on the transfer window, Calum, I guess what I can ask is, we've seen a glimpse of, right, so we've seen Schmeichel, of course. We've seen him, we've seen Ida. We know Ida. Known him since January. We've known Bernardo since January. We could touch on Bernardo's performance against Rangers, by the way, because that was unbelievable. But I know that we've barely seen Engels. He didn't play a long period of the game. Same with McKeown. But what has been your sort of first impressions in general? Do you think everybody's on the right stead to go in the right direction?
Oh, definitely. I think, like, as you've touched on it, the boys that were obviously here last season, such and even Schmeichel, from what we've seen, all of them seem like they get the pass marks. And again, from what you've seen, obviously online and such, we didn't really get much of it from Engels, but he looks confident as a player. Even the same way like McKeown, it was like McGregor going over and saying, "Lad, just go for it, just go enjoy it, because you know you can do it." That, I think he'll turn good again for us as well. And
even Phil Clement was absolutely buzzing, wasn't he? So, the doors have just banged in the studio, and I'm scared we're about to get shot or murdered.
It's pitch black.
I know, it's pitch black. I'm assuming it's like...
Was it that pitch black before?
No, there was a light on earlier.
Goodbye.
You're watching the final moments of Ryan, Kieran and Calum. I'm assuming it's got to be like Greg or something like that.
I hope so.
No mess, just bought it. So, if first place gets robbed, don't fucking blame us. Right, let's touch on the Champions League draw very quickly, shall we, before we go into the halftime quiz, because the halftime quiz will be European themed, I'm led to believe. So, Champions League draw, wow. For the first time in this new concept, this new format, I think we've been given a pretty decent draw. Calum, you touched on it in one of your comments, saying it was a favourable draw. It's the Champions League. It's of course going to be difficult, but it's so much nicer than what we could have got. How are you feeling about this Champions League?
I think, as you said, compared to, like, obviously I know this is the first year of the new format, but some of the groups I've had in recent years,
groups of death.
So it's nice to have that sort of a bit of optimism. And don't get me wrong, I've slipped a couple of years ago under Ange for going into Real Madrid. Could that result here, by the way? But no, that could, like, no that level again. But I think there's a couple of draws in there you'd quite fancy a win or a draw.
I mean, we start off in good stead. Slovan Bratislava are the first team, Kieran, who are, by no means, we can't disrespect them, they're the champions of their nation, but Celtic go into it the favourites, and they should go into it the favourites. And even though they can be, you can look at them in banana peels and you might look at them in regret after the game's finished, right? But, I mean, every day of the week you're choosing that over a Real Madrid. You're choosing that over Bayern Munich. That's the kind of ties you are wanting. So overall, we've got a few of those draws. How are you feeling?
Well, I mean, I said before, I don't care about glamour ties. Gear's the easiest possible draw, and I feel I don't want to use the term easiest. It's favourable is a good way of describing it, but as you said, we can't underestimate any of these teams, because we look at a lot of these games thinking they're winnable, and they're must-wins. If you're serious about advancing in this competition, these are teams you have to be beating. And I don't think any of them will be easy games. Like, you're looking at teams that are probably, I mean, I don't know, I don't watch them every week, but you'd imagine quite a similar level to what we're playing at. Every game is going to be hard fought, but you're looking at games against Slovan Bratislava, Club Brugge, teams like this, young boys, you need to be picking up 3 points against them.
Yeah. And if you don't, it's this disappointment.
That's the level we're at. That's the thing in the Champions League, because we spoke about glamour-tising it. In these games, it's if we don't win, hingy. But you've seen Shakhtar Donetsk at home, you've seen Anderlecht at home, you've seen all these games that with the easiest on paper in the grouping, we've managed to slip up against them. So there really can't be any room for error against these teams. You might get a bit of a buy in the away games against Atalanta and Dortmund, obviously, Aston Villa, but we've never. This is a golden chance for us to really try, and we always speak about making a dent in Europe, trying to progress. This is we've been gifted an opportunity to try and do that, and I've got the faith in the squad that we can hopefully make something happen this year.
Top 8 sees you straight through to the last 16. Between 8th and 24th sees you to the knockout playoff, where you have the chance to fight for the last 16. That's where Celtic should be aiming for. We're not going to be a top 8 side. We've got to be realistic. We're not going to be a top 8 side. If we were, then Brendan Rodgers, build a statue and build it high. But you're aiming, Calum, for 8th and 24th. You're probably wanting 12 points to guarantee that. I'd say 10 points is ambitious to maybe get you through. I look at those games and I see a pathway to 10 or 12 points. I look at last year's performances in the Champions League and I see a team that's now better and capable of getting 12 points. Does looking back on last year, give you the confidence that this year we can do it?
Definitely. I think there was those performances. I mean, like, Atletico at home, a brilliant game, but it's just, as you said, those performances that we've seen, there was more than enough to look at and say, right, we can build on this now. Because if players will have the confidence behind them, it's like, you could sit in a room with Brendan Rodgers and it could make you feel like on top of the world. Like, it's just the way he can put the belief into the players, and the players know they've got the talent to go and take performances. So you could only imagine, I think, as you said, 10 to 12 should be the mark.
It's early to predict, and there's no point in saying, no, we're going to win that game, we're going to draw that game, we're going to lose that game. What would you be happy with, Kieran? What would make you go, that was successful? What do you think is the bare minimum for you in that regard?
Progression into
just general progression. Even if we want to somehow flick it through in like 7 points, that'd be fine for you.
I mean,
it's not going to happen.
I know. But I mean, obviously you want to see better performances and that, but we need to get through to another round. And I mean, we can't say, European football after Christmas this year.
That's it. Well, we've done it.
we need to change it up to European football after January.
After Valentine's Day.
No, just doesn't have the same
Nah,
ring to it, does
it's
it?
not. No.
But, I'd say we need to get into the playoff.
Yeah, I think that when you look at the games, right, and so we start off with Bratislava. It's a game where it should be a win. Then it's to Dortmund, which Dortmund aren't great at the minute. They finished 5th last season, but it's not a game I'd expect Celtic to win by any means. Then it goes to, who's third? Is that Bruges that's third? I know Atalanta's 4th, I think. Bergamo. Let's just go through home.
We play Atalanta on the 23rd of October away.
Right,
And we play Dortmund on the 1st of October. So.
Put it this way, right? The 4 away games, Bergamo, Dortmund, Birmingham and Bruges. They're the 4 away games, aren't they? No, Zagreb, sorry. If you can get, I think if we got 3 points out of those 4 games, I'd be happy with that. And then it's about trying to win every single game at Celtic Park. And I know that'll be hard, because Leipzig are a very good team, but I think that's what we should aim for.
And Leipzig's obviously the one that stands out to people. That out of the 4 home games we've got, that's the, I don't like to say big name, because Leipzig are only 15 years old. So. But I mean, they've got the best squad and people. They've got some real talent, and that it's going to be a very tough game. But as I said, every game's going to be a tough game. Everybody's here on merit, and see, just thinking about next week as well. What was that I said in the last one? Kieran's Cookham Corner.
Oh, here we go. It's time for Kieran's Cookham. I need to make a graphic.
A certain Mr. Vladimir Weiss is going to be playing against us. He's getting booked.
Did you know his dad's the manager as well?
Somebody said that in the chat. His dad's getting booked as well.
Double yellow for the Vices, boys. There you go. There's Kieran's Coopham's Corner for you this week. Lump it. Put the house on it.
Don't come crying to me
when you're homeless. Before we go into the halftime quiz, I was just thinking about it there when you brought up the term glamour ties. I don't know why this went through my head, right? But has it ever bothered you about seeing a player live? Do you think about that?
No.
Because seeing people go, like David Buick's always says to me, he's like, I'm so gutted I've not seen Messi live. And I'm like, see, at the end of the day, if I've not seen Ronaldo live, and I'm not going to sit there on my deathbed going, shite, I never seen Cristiano Ronaldo. It's not like seeing Paul McCartney, you know what I mean? I feel like seeing a football player just doesn't hit the same. And I know that's not the same for everybody, but I don't know. I don't know about yous. It's never bothered me.
I mean, it's good to say you've seen all these players live in the flesh one day. You can tell your grandma, I've seen him.
I've seen Messi.
But, I mean, I've seen Messi too many times now. I'm sick of him.
Like, as long as I'm seeing Sellik every week, I couldn't give a shite what player I'm watching, to be honest.
I know. I see the whole thing about getting to see them live. They're usually fucking scoring a hat-trick or something.
It's the reason I just don't think it's the same as like a musician is because like when you go to see a musician, it's because you're there to listen to their music, see their music. Now people say, well, you've got to see them play their football, but for 90% of the game, they're not touching the ball. They're just walking about a park.
See, don't get me started on Luka Modric's getting a Standing ovation coming off the park. That boy was my bud, man.
So have we all got our Champions League packages? Yes.
Home cup scheme.
Oh, of course, yeah, of course. Nice, good. Well, on that note, we should go into the halftime quiz, because today we've got a European-themed halftime quiz, which is not created by our usual quiz master, Kieran. It's been made by this Kieran Auld, who I will let take it away.
Okay, for this tenable, we're looking for the last 10 individual goal scorers for Celtic in European competition, excluding qualifiers. So we're talking about the last 10 scorers in group stage football for Celtic, and obviously this spans across Europa League as well.
Right, okay.
But obviously, there's players that have scored more than once, but I'm not counting the actual goals, just the goal scorer.
As long as they've scored.
And we get to work together on this one, so we get 3 lives and we're out.
And I'm going to give you a thing. Don't try and test the waters of how far back it is. Go for Maestries and work your way back.
So the last game was Feyenoord.
So Lagerbielke.
He
scores
number 1.
Good. Who scored? Was it? I'm not saying this. Was it? Did Kyogo score the other goal? I didn't get to watch it, so I can't remember. I was on a flight back to Tenerife.
Part me wants to say Bernardo, but it's not.
No, I don't think it's Bernardo. I'll go safe for a minute because Palma's definitely scored, hasn't he?
And that's number 2. Palma scored against Feyenoord, but
nice. I didn't think it was Feyenoord as well. Nice, that's good. Right, so Palma, Lagerbielke.
They're both for the Feyenoord game in December.
Yes.
They're just just work your way back.
Is that games you're looking for, or scorers? Sorry.
Oh no, the goal scorer. So you've said Lagerbielke.
So the next game would be Lazio away.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't score in that game, and then it was Madrid away. We got pumped 6-0. Madrid at home, we did score.
Kyogo scored in that.
Kyogo,
number 3.
he scored 2 that night. But was the other Palma? No,
because he's got chopped off.
That's
right.
Did we score 2 that night?
Actually, it was 2 each.
Who scored
2 each we drew.
You've got the Atletico game. I was just going to say that. You don't need to keep.
Oh, because Kyogo scored 2. Aha. So we're on to one here, Calum. So then after that, it was Lazio at Parkhead.
Yes.
Which I don't think there's anybody fresh. Because was it no... So the game finished, 1 each?
No, we got beat.
Oh, so we did.
2-1.
Aye, we got beat 2-1. They scored in the 90th minute. But do we have this... Was it... No, because...
I'm going to just... So we're not here on night. You've got the scorers for that game.
I knew it. Right, I'm glad that you've said it. And then Feyenoord at the Coupe, we didn't score. We got beat 2-0. Didn't we? Yes.
Tried by accident, didn't it?
We did. So then we have to go to the year before, which is Ange in his second season. Giacomakis
versus Shakhtar. That's number 5.
So we're missing 4. Jota at the Bernabeu.
That's number 4.
And then
so you're halfway there.
Scored. What was he? No, Shakhtar Leipzig. Real that group, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So he scored in Germany. I remember that. Right after half time.
But obviously that doesn't count.
I'm just trying to count back again. He scored in that.
So Bernabeu was the last game we got pumped. We've got the Jota goal for that.
Mm-hmm.
Shakhtar at home we didn't score. Did we?
That was the Giacomakis goal.
That was the 1 each.
That was
up top that game.
It was an OG when we were in Poland. So
you're correct. I never included that because Hitati shot it, but it was there's an own goal listed on the website, so I'm not counting that. So you need to then go further back.
Right.
Wow. So what else did they have there?
So we've got the first 5 though. We're cooking here. So
try to count in the games again.
Real at Parkhead, we didn't score.
No.
Shakhtar at Parkhead we've been through. Shakhtar away we've been through. Leipzig at home. I can't even remember the score in that game. We did get beat, didn't we? God, it just goes to show you how hard it is to remember these games, because I can't remember that game at all.
I'm going to just it was 2-0 to Leipzig that game.
Right. So we done that year altogether.
That season's done.
So now we're on to the year before.
Mm-hmm.
Did we score against Bodo Glimt?
Yes, we did. And by the way, at the start, I never meant to say European group stage football, just European competition. But actual in the
Aye.
like qualifiers, no the qualifiers, but
I can't remember who scored against Bodo, you know that? No, for the life of me. I couldn't tell you.
that's why the games you block for your memory.
Aye, because of the way it went.
If we go to the group stage, though, of that year, it was Ange's first season, which, does a Yeti make it into this?
No.
Right, so
Unless you think of the
everything
Betis,
after
but aye,
Betis then. Like, we've lost our life. So we played Ferencváros, but we've already said Kyogo.
Think of the last game of that group stage. Might help you.
That was that Betis at home? Betis at home was the last game. Who scored in that game?
The Misfits game where we
I know,
played.
What did it finish? It finished 4-3?
3-2.
3-2?
4-3 was the away game.
Aye.
This is the hardest part of the tenable.
So it's the last 5 people are from this season. Well, maybe. Give it a go. I surely did.
Abada.
Right, I've got
Yeah, you've got one more life because I'm no playing, so.
Just try to fucking think.
I thought Abada would have been as soon as she said that. I was like, that's got to be one. Right, so I said Jota, I said Kyogo. What defenders would have scored? Did Juranovic get a goal?
And that's number 10, so.
Is that the Perenka?
No. Aye. Penenka penalty against Leverkusen, but obviously Jota scored the second goal in that game, but he's already on this list.
So we've got 6 with a life to go.
And you just need number 9, number 8, number 7, 6 through to 9.
This was far back as Leverkusen then.
Aye.
So that was that goals in it.
Did McGregor score any in that year?
The only goal I can think of McGregor that year's a qualifiers.
Right, so
that Michelin volley.
We'll not say the McGregor.
So that's not. And because it was just competition.
I've already said Giacomakis, obviously.
Kyogo, Jota.
I would say.
Is that
you've
against Betis?
You've got one goal scorer in the Bodo game at home. Then the other 3 are 3 individual goal scorers against Betis. It's just trying to remember who they 3
because it was a game, wasn't it? Like I try because remember, like Big Origidi was playing that night. He didn't score though.
No, I'm going to tell you right now.
He didn't bloody score. That just shows you the quality of player that was playing though. Oh my God. Turnbull could be a shout.
I'm just trying to fucking remember the team more than anything.
Oh fuck it, Turnbull.
Correct.
Well done, Cam. Well done.
So you've got 3 more to go, 2 more for that night. Honestly, I would be here all night with these other 2.
Aye, see, this is we're at the point where I feel like we've just got to shout out names and get it done with. So we'll not here all night. Montgomery.
No.
Shite.
Welsh. One in that game.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Then the last scorer for that game is one I was like, oh my God, I forgot about him.
We're on 8 out of 10. I know it's so annoying.
Is that fucking...
This the Bodo game I'll never get. I can't remember who scored that night.
Do you want me to tell you?
Right, fine, we'll take 8 out of 10. Well done, Cam. I'll take 8 out of 10.
Against Bodo, it was Mr. Dyson Maeda.
Why did we not think of Maeda?
I don't know why I think of Maeda before Maeda.
And then the goal against Real Betis. Any last guesses just for...
Owen Moffat or something.
You're kind of on the right lines with it, but it was you and Henderson.
Fuck's
So he
sake.
did. So he did, aye.
He shot his brother's son playing that fucking Palermo save. Unbelievable. Liam.
Palermo said, was it Bruschetta ball?
Bruschetta ball.
I really hope all that was accurate because I made that weeks ago. If it's no, then tough.
Could have been here all night.
No, I mean Henderson. I wouldn't have said Maeda either because I don't know why. You know how sometimes when you play stuff like tennis, even when you're watching the telly, you go that long without saying something obvious, then you start to think you've already said it because it is obvious and just totally gone. Well done, Kieran. I hope you had fun playing at home. Right, here's your guess, Kieran. What were it?
Like 39, 40 minutes.
That's not bad. Hearts this weekend then, and we go into the game against Hearts in a very different position from what we usually would play in Hearts because they have been pish. Pretty pish. Stephen Naismith is a manager who could end up sacked sometime soon because they have been that pish. So
a lot of superlatives.
I know. Celtic Park against Hearts is typically the sort of game you should be winning, no matter what kind of form Hearts are in, Kieran. But now, more than ever, we should be beating them.
It should be a given. Like that's the way we go into this game, the mentality. Because as you said, many times they've been pish, but the way we've been playing, hopefully we can pick it up straight after an international break, like we've not been away. And it is the sort of thing, Hearts are obviously going to be desperate to get off the mark this season and try and claw back a wee bit of something, but it's been a horrific start for them, and I don't think their fans are too happy. But I'm just thinking, what was it, last December they beat us, but it's a different sort of Hearts side that's coming to Celtic Park now. As I said, they were desperate, but we need to just go out there and hopefully play them off the park.
Yeah.
Further put in a nail in Naismith's coffin.
get him to fuck. Calum, we already kind of touched on the fact that, it's all about kicking on now and using the momentum from the derby to spear us forward. But I guess the bigger thing is, of course, with Europe coming up on Wednesday as well, you want to send the team into that game with all the confidence in the world. You want to avoid any of these slip-ups. We want to be going in on Wednesday on top form, both on the pitch and in the stands. We don't want any of those reservations that we normally would. So I think, despite winning being the priority against a team like Hearts, this would also be a nice time to do what we've done to Rangers and batter them as well.
Oh, 100%. You'd just like it to be a case of an even quicker start, like we've seen in previous weeks. For us against Hearts, just go out, get the job done nice and early. Ideally, the game's done in the first half hour, if you could. I know it's optimistic, but even that, at the first half, at least. So even if it is a case you can rest a couple of legs, especially with Europe in mind as well, we could hopefully then see a bit more of like McCowan and such, just to sort of get him a bit more confident. I say confident, he's more than confident, but just to kind of get him a bit more in with the actual match squad.
So, 3 of the biggest talking points I want to talk about going into this game. Number 1, do we tell Calum McGregor to continue shooting from outside the box? That's got to be one of the priorities, in my opinion. Where's this come from? Like,
David Turnbull must have phoned them. That's one thing it's missing for you. the team's game, then.
Gave him his boots. I wonder if they're the same size of feet. No, but okay, the serious 2 points I want to go through though. Number 1, Paulo Bernardo. He was phenomenal against Rangers. Everybody was raving about his performance. I felt like we were watching Matt O'Reilly. Quite frankly, he was that good. Do you drop him, Calum? Do you see a world in which he should be dropped for Arnie Engels, or what's your ideal midfield 3 going at this game? Is basically what I'm asking.
I think you still continue to play him. You do the same it was against Rangers. Give him that 60-65 minutes roughly, because again, just to keep him ticking over. But again, he was far too good to have then said, "Oh, you're that good, son. Be on the bench this week." Mm-hmm. He was phenomenal against Rangers.
And Kieran, not only that, he scored for Portugal the other night as well. So he's continuing the form.
For me, you don't drop him. I understand we've got maybe this level of expectation now that we've splashed the cash on Engels, but I don't think that should merit Bernardo losing his place in the team. I feel like I don't think he will personally, but I don't know if it's the sort of thing you just gradually phase Engels into the team. But we have spent a lot of money on him. But hopefully, us going out and spending this money is sort of, I don't want to say put a rocket up his ass like it was pure slacking, but I feel like our expectation was we were going to sign Bernardo and have him as the squad option, and then we were going to sign Engels. But I think maybe he's taking it in his own hands. I'm not going to accept that myself, and that's exactly, you want the competition for places. It's healthy, and there's going to be plenty of games this season for them to rotate the side. But I think Bernardo keeps his place at the weekend.
Ultimately, you want to be in a position where when the eventual Hatate departure comes, which, let's be real, will probably happen next year, when that departure comes, you want to be sitting there going, it's fine, we've got Engels and Bernardo, that's the two. Because I think the biggest point of conversation going into this game is, a lot of people seem to think Hatate should be dropped and we should start Engels. But that's just the typical Celtic fan mindset, isn't it? Hatate has one poorer game and it's like, no, get him in the bin.
Did he miss that?
So it's an interesting one, that midfield 3. I guess we'll see come Friday, but not Friday, Saturday. But we're in a good position, and I think Engels starting or not doesn't make a huge difference to his Celtic future by any means.
I know. As I said about expectations, I think there will be fans expecting to see him starting on Saturday purely because of the price we paid for him. But I'm not going to be hitting the panic button. Oh, we've signed him for this money and he's not good enough to start. And like his time will come. I'd imagine there'll be a time where midfielders will drop form. There'll be rotation. I don't think he's going to be panicking too much about it. So why should we?
Yeah. And the other one I wanted to talk about is Alistair Johnston. Now, there is a chance. We're recording this, of course, before Brendan Rodgers' press conference, so we're waiting on the manager's update, but Alistair Johnston did go off against the USA 25 minutes into the game with a hamstring issue. Jesse Marsh, the Canada manager, then said after the game that it wasn't anything too serious. Alistair Johnston knows his body and decided to call it a day before it led to anything worse. He's to be assessed by the Lennoxtown medical team. Brendan Rodgers will give us that update tomorrow. Now, the question I ask of you is this, Calum. Even if the report comes back that he's fine, do you think this is maybe the opportunity or the chance to maybe go, right, we'll save him for Wednesday? What would you think? Would you be like, nah, just get him on the park, or would you rest him?
I don't know. It's an ideal case that it does come out of this and say, look, it's fine. He just felt a wee bit tight and that was that. But again, as like, we've not really touched him. We've got the likes of Alex Bally. It'd be nice to see him potentially come in and get a bit of game time in there. I know Hearts a bit of a hard one, but you're playing at Parkhead and their confidence could be low on this, like a snake's belly.
Yeah.
Why not start him there? Give Johnson that rest.
That's the point I made today in my video. I mean, I know like Ralston is maybe the backup right back, so I mean, you've got the option.
No, after the comments, I've never watched the game against
Poland.
But
was he that bad against Poland?
Just, it puts the fear of God in me every time I
but
see him.
But Bally played in pre-season at right back for Barcelona, and I
don't care if he hadn't played there since he was 12. I'd be starting him at right back.
Couldn't give you an ass of a Scunthorpe. So, what about you, Kieran? Would you just give Johnson the rest until Wednesday, or maybe even like if he was fine, maybe just bring him on late, take him off early?
I think bringing him on late is the option I would go for. I don't think I would start him and then take him off at half time and that. I think let him get some minutes in his legs at the end of the game, but I would like to see Bally getting the chance at right back, and Tony Ralston can watch for the stands.
We are the Tony Ralston hate podcast, aren't we?
I don't mean to initiate this, but I just really... That was the one thing about like the thought of the transfer window, and we're still sat here 3 years after his renaissance under Ange. That's long gone.
Oh, long gone. So yeah, that's hard. We'll save the team prediction because I do want to touch a little bit on Bruges so we can wrap up and do the quiz and the Q&A and that.
Slovan Bratislava.
Bratislava, sorry, thank you very much. But one thing we do need to touch on very quickly is Alistair Johnston set to apparently get a new contract, which is wonderful news. He's currently got 3 years left in his deal come December, so I'd imagine this will be a deal that takes him up to either the summer of 2030 or 2029. Which is a terrifying thought, really, because his contract's up in December 27, and if they're going to add a couple of years on it could be the summer of 2030. That is minging. That is.
That's the sort of year you should only see up in the corner of your screen in FM or
Call of Duty game or something like that. Aye, so that'll be nice. New contract for AJ. Bratislava then. Because we record on Thursdays, typically our podcast is going to be very much centred around reviewing Champions League games rather than previewing Champions League games. But it would be rude not to touch on it very, very bluntly. I'll just ask for very quick opinions from both of you. I know we've already kind of touched on it, Kieran, but fresh thoughts, anything, just going into that game.
I'm looking forward to this year's Champions League. I feel like it's a chance for us to really show what we can do. I feel like in previous years we've maybe had our hands tied behind our back with some of the draws we've been given, but I think this year it's your chance to go out and show that we're a team that deserve to be there. We're a team that usually sort of gets a lot of criticisms because of the results we've been getting in Europe in the past decade, really. But it's now a time to kick on. We keep talking about levelling up as a club. This is where you want to be. It's all well and good doing well in Scotland, but you really need to try and show something on the European stage. I'm excited by the prospect of it. We're going in, as Calum touched on earlier, maybe not quite as on a high as when we're going in thinking we're going to beat Real Madrid, but you're in a good position. It's a good way to hopefully get 3 points on the board early doors and show that we can win ties in the Champions League, and that win against Feyenoord wasn't a once in a decade fluke.
Well, that's it. They broke the juju last year, Calum. We waited a decade for our Champions League home win. And we finally done it against Feyenoord. And yeah, it was in a game that made no impact on the group. It was a game that didn't matter at all. But it did matter to Celtic in the sense they needed that. They needed that win at Parkhead. And now the core of that squad that done that are still here. And not only are they still here, but they've improved on that. So this is just a huge opportunity for Celtic fans to leave Celtic Park on Wednesday night with 3 points thinking, bring on the next 7 games.
Oh, 100%. I think it is just so important getting yourself off to that good start. There's nothing worse than getting in with so much confidence like we have done in many a previous year, and then you walk away with, even if it was to be a point, as much as I've not playing down a point in Europe, a point with Brown, but as you said, they've got that win in the last game. You just need to kick on for that. Now you've got essentially a monkey off your back for the last 10 years. Now go and show us, because we know we can do it.
You talk about a point. I'll ask you both the same question. Would you be disappointed with a point Wednesday?
Yes.
Yes.
That was the quickest yes I've ever heard from him.
Without a shadow of a doubt, this is the ultimate chance to get
This
3
is
points.
arguably the most winnable game
On
in the whole
paper,
eight.
aye.
And
Like,
with all due respect.
I mean, they did get hammered 5-0 after Higgin, but then they also beat, I think it was a second division side in the Cup 5-0.
Aye.
So they're blowing hot and cold right now.
So you say no, Calum, it's a no for you.
No, I think even as I'd said there, obviously you don't exactly want to play down it in Europe, but more so the fact of, again, no disrespect to the level of opposition, but more so when it's in this new group format, you just want to get as much as possible.
Yeah. It'll be fun. I'm looking forward to the atmosphere. I'm looking forward to the Champions League anthem. I'm looking forward to it all being back. It's nice that we have it in 4 different occasions this year and it lasts a bit longer. Yeah, bring it on. I really just want to beat everybody. All 8 teams. 8 out of 8.
Controversial there, Ryan.
I'm telling you, I can't wait till we play Villa because I love playing the English teams. I always feel like we step it up a notch against the
I
English.
kind of wanted, if we got an English team, for it to be at Celtic Park, but I suppose...
I wanted Arsenal because I told you in the last podcast I wanted Arteta so I could rub his face and pish.
Do that felt in 4-1 too.
So Champions League, we'll be here to review it next week. Hopefully with our new member of the podcast as well. So
you should put a big question mark with the couch.
Who will be here? So yeah, we'll get onto that next week and hopefully we're all happy because can't be bothered with a sad thingy. And there's somebody walking about down there. That answers our question as to where the noise might have came from. Right, okay. Here's the part where our normal viewers are going to be shafted a wee bit. Because we had in a bit of a rush, Calum needs to get to his arm thing. This Q&A is going to be the first ever edition of the Thunder Club. So if you want to join the Thunder Club and you want to see it this week, feel free to join in. If not, don't worry, we're not taking it away for good. So don't start your complaining. Right? We'll see you on the other side if you're not joining us. We're back in a moment. So back to the full podcast now, and we'll finish up on the quiz. You're laughing at me.
I was waiting for you to daylight the thing, Phil, but I'm not around the eyes in the eyes.
You're on. Right, let's finish up on the quiz very quickly. I think we're probably about an hour and 10.
Maybe a wee bit more.
Just a wee bit more. We yapped nowadays, didn't we? The long gone are the days where we aim for an hour.
To be fair, it'll be less for the normal viewers.
True, that's true. Right, your full-time quiz today, it is from Kieran, our quiz master, who I must apologise to because I gave him no notice whatsoever and he had to make this while he was under the influence. So, just seen a tweet about 4 minutes ago, noticed that I'm already 3 pints down and you need a Q&A. You'll have questions on the 4 players that I am seeing tonight at my Q&A session, which includes Simon Donnelly, Jackie McNamara, Alan Thompson and Tom Boyd.
There we go. London, who it was.
There you go. There's the 4 that he's seen. So are they away to Doha?
Must be a no bad
Got a
gig.
pretty penny,
I was about to say, I'll be getting paid a good bit of money for that. Right, Kieran and Calum, I don't know who... I think I won the last quiz, didn't I?
I think so.
The one in freeway between. So, I'm just going to Calum. Do you want to say A or B?
Fuck it, just say.
He's going for set A. Okie dokie. Question 1 for you, Calum. Simon Donnelly and Jackie McNamara took which Scottish club to a cup final as manager and assistant?
Dundee United.
Correct. Well done. It's Dundee United, so you're 1-0 up. Kieran, which means your question is Alan Thompson started his career at which English club which finished in the top. Well, see, this is I don't get the wording of this question because they didn't finish in the top 6 last year. He said English top 6 club. This isn't one of the traditional top 6 clubs. So
is it Newcastle?
It is Newcastle. Aye, and it's just because he started at which top 6 English club.
The man's 3 pints deep. Let's allow him a
We'll
wee bit
let him
of
away.
leeway here.
We'll let him away. But it's 1-0, correct. Well done. Calum, which means your question for number 2 is Alan Thompson left Celtic and joined who in 2007?
I got a fucking clue.
I wouldn't know.
Nah. Leeds.
Oh, no way. It is
I know you
Leeds.
went back down. I didn't know if that was before
No way. What a guess.
Newcastle.
Leeds.
There we
There you go.
Take that.
Leeds 2-1. Well done, Calum. And you get the opposite end of this question, Kieran, because where did he join Celtic from in 2000?
I don't know. What year did you say?
2000.
No, that's going to help. But
Cubs were still around in 2000.
don't know. Southampton.
Bit more northern than that. Aston Villa, Champions League opponents. So Calum, you're in the lead going into question 3, and your question is Jackie McNamara left Celtic to join which English club?
Not got a fucking clue.
If you get it again, I'm going to fly off this.
The man with that is because I know he's played with Leeds at some point, so I'm not sure when. Ipswich.
No, same city as Villa. It's Wolves. He went to Wolves. I don't know if it's technically the same city, but you know.
Same region.
Same region.
Aye,
yeah.
Is that the Black country? Aye.
That's right. Kieran, Jackie McNamara joined Celtic from which club? You should know this.
Should I?
Yes, you should. It is actually in the song, I'm sure. It is in the song.
It will be, but I don't know word for word. Don't know. Hibs.
David Buick is shaking his head. The Pars. Dunfermline.
When I get that, I win for Sundays.
I would only got it because of
There's
the
a
song.
reason we don't call this the If You Know Your History quiz.
Right, Calum, which means can you win here? Or you'd go up? No, I don't think you can win, but you take a bit.
Any questions, Gilzer?
You can go 3-1 up. Here,
3-1
He's got. You can tell he's made this in 5 minutes. I respect it because the question is: Simon Donnelly joined Celtic from which Glasgow club in 1993?
I didn't know he played for much. Was it Thistle?
No, Queen's Park. See, to be fair, it was a 50-50. It was Park. It was Queen's Park or Thistle, wasn't it?
I just said Thistle.
Aye, so I wouldn't get yourself too bogged down. You're still 2-1 up. Kieran, Simon Donnelly left to join who in 1999?
Pretty sick, Colin.
You know what, Kieran, I'm not giving you your leeway for being 3 points. Sort it out.
Go on. Go on then.
That's not going to make
I know
sense.
it's not going to make sense to anybody that's not watched the quiz. Or the Q&A, sorry.
Did you say Scottish club or did
No,
you say
he left Celtic to join which club in 1999? I'll get you a clue. England.
Okay, I don't know. Norwich.
Come on, Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday. There you go.
I've seen that video my timeline for you.
So, Calum, if you get this right, you do win.
Takes off.
But if you don't get it right, Kieran's probably not going to get the next question right anyway. So
Class.
4 players, I just don't care for.
Uh,
The 4 were doing it.
but it's not your generation.
Nah, we missed the boat with these players.
He's on your generation of players, and it's people will.
So I think you spoke about in the wrestling chat, anything pre
97 or whatever.
Christianity.
I know it's anything pre 2000, pre Martin O'Neill. I'm really not knowledgeable about, unless it's proper the Lisbon Lions or whatever.
2007, it was my first real season.
Same.
Consciously
And it's
watching
I know a lot about Tom Boyd. I know a lot about Jackie McNamara. What they've done at Celtic. I don't know who they fucking left to join. Anyway, question 5, Cam. Your last question. Tom Boyd joined in a swap deal in 1993 from which English club? I'll give you a clue. I'll give you clues for these two. It is a traditional top 6 club.
Anyway, he's blank. I just don't know enough of them.
Any of the top 6 in England. The traditional top 6. Just pick one. Go for it. Correct.
Is it?
It's
For fuck's
Chelsea. Well done. Well done. Did you know the answer to that?
No.
Felt like you'd done that even before the answer.
Fuck.
So Chelsea is the correct answer, which means Calum wins this week. Kieran, I will give you a clue anyway. Tom Boyd originally played for which club between 1983 and 1991, where he won the Scottish Cup as a captain in 1991? And I'll give you a clue. They're no far from here.
Motherwell.
Correct. There's Motherwell. Well done, Calum. You have won this week. Points on the board for you. The tiebreaker would have been how many combined goals at Celtic do all 4 players have. So if you were to combine, just throw a number out there. All 4 of them scored them.
I'm trying to remember the 4 players.
So Tom Boyd, who was a defender, Donnelly, who was a midfielder, McNamara, who was a defender, and Thompson, who was a midfielder.
103.
96.
109. Not far off at all. So well done, Calum, again. Well done, Kieran, on your guess. It's not good enough.
It's a moral victory.
It's a moral victory, as Philip Clement would say. And that brings us to the end of the podcast today. Thank you, ladies and gents, for tuning in and for joining us. We're now going to whisk Calum away to the A&E to get his arm sorted. And Kieran's gone home to, I don't know.
Watch Prison Break.
He was telling us.
I'm 12 years late to the party.
Don't worry, I've never been at the party. I'm going to edit the podcast to get it up. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all the members of the Thunder Club this far, and hopefully next week we'll have our new podcast member. Kieran, thank you.
Pleasure.
Calum, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
We'll see you next time.